Our next woman in business grew up in the Mission Valley and went to Isleta High School. Then, while a single mother of 3 children, got her Ph.D. from New Mexico State University and now is the executive director of not 1, not 2, but 3 local foundations. Dr. Abigail Tarango. Nice to see you, Abigail.
Nice to see you.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot to even remember and say. So take us back to your early days in the El Paso area, down in the Mission Valley.
Yeah, I was an Isleta High School graduate. I grew up during a time when there was grass and fields and farmland, and it was a very different area. You know, over the years it's developed and grown, and as we all know, El Paso continues to grow, but I'll never forget the area in which I grew up with, which, you know, we used to go to Guarafil, and believe it or not, only recently did I realize that Guarafil growing up is actually called waterfill, and so some of those things really stick to me because growing up, you know, you don't know any better, you don't know where your trajectory is, and so I'm really excited to be able to be here and have this conversation with you today.
Abigail, obviously you really appreciated the power of education because you went all the way. You can't get any higher than a PhD. So when did that click?
Oh, you know, I think watching my mother, you know, she eloped when she was 16 from El Paso, and she always knew that she was going to go back, and she did. When she had 4 daughters, she got her GED in a time when it was taboo to get a GED, and after that she went to El Paso Community College. And she would not like that I said this, but she took algebra 3 times before she kept, you know, persevering. But as a young girl, the oldest of 4 daughters, witnessing that journey but not knowing truly what she was doing for us mattered much later. During high school, I realized that she wanted to go to college as well. And so as she left her associate's degree, she started UTEP. Wouldn't you know it that on Mother's Day 2002, we both graduated from our bachelor's degree on the same Mother's Day weekend, her from UTEP and myself from New Mexico State University.
Let's talk about your dissertation. What did you do a dissertation on?
So part of my journey really has been the value that my mother has shown us. She knew that nobody can take your education away from you through language, through experiences, but more importantly through schooling. We believed that schooling happened in 2 ways. She called it the educación, you know, which is the formality of schooling, and then really kind of the educación at home, you know, how we were raised and what was important, and work ethic, and my father was so instrumental in that. And as I finished my master's in also education, curriculum instruction, and I worked in education, I had been a preschool teacher, a high school teacher. I taught higher ed for Upward Bound at UTEP, and then Texas A&M, a community educator. I knew that my hunger wasn't quenched, and so journeying into a PhD was the next step. At that point, I was so excited. I was so excited to get my PhD in education. I studied Latina Madres, and my PhD topic was specifically influenced by my mother, the journey of Latina Madres and how they changed the trajectory of their families.
Wow. So then from education to your foundations, you have a lot on your plate right now. Tell us about these foundations.
You know, education was something I thought I was going to do forever. I was finished with my PhD. It was during a pandemic and just an incredible time in our lives, helping with a school district with incredible challenges. And I will tell you that it took a lot for me to decide to leave public education. But ultimately what it was deciding, where do I need to serve next? An opportunity came up, and the University Medical Center Foundation of El Paso, the executive director there, El Paso Children's Hospital Foundation, the executive director for that, and then Fundación de México, so presidenta of that foundation. And those are 3 wonderful ways to serve and valuable ways to serve. So how could I say no to such an opportunity? Of course, I pursued it, and here I am now. It's about 7 months later, and we haven't stopped. There's lots of work to do. There's lots of need in our community. University Medical Center continues to grow. The talent that we keep here locally is incredible. You know, part of my excitement in all of this is that there's personal stories attached to all of this. You know, when you think about families and their struggles, what can we do to improve their quality of life? And it's from education to healthcare to philanthropy. I mean, all of this makes an impact, and what better place to do it in than the wonderful city of El Paso.
Abigail Tarango. Dr. Tarango, thank you so much. Amazing story.